Hello friends, we are in the middle of the knot of the film and the outcome hasn't yet arrived, nor do I think it will until 20th January. Opinion article. In the eye of the hurricane. Apparent peace and quiet in the dispute. Supreme Court rejects Texas claim. Rudy Giuliani said that this is not over. Israel to show Herod's palace on Sunday. A monolith is found in a city in Paraguay. United Nations criticizes water prices on Wall Street. Let's start. We have reached one of the most critical moments in history. The strange situation of the calm that we are experiencing could be objectively described as being in the eye of the hurricane, because wherever you go, you can return to the storm. If you move to either side, you will enter the storm. When you are in the middle of the conflict, you find yourself in a moment of calm, but as soon as you do something, you will return to the problem. This means that December can be cold, may be cold, and January hot, according to political predictions. The eye of the hurricane or cyclone is the calmest or quietest place when it moves over the ocean. It is precisely the center of this eye, when you see clear, blue, clear and calm skies. Not so in the extremes of the same hurricane or cyclone, which is the area where the most devastating and intense winds occur. This allegory refers to the fact that we're in the middle of the problem and that it could blow at the least expected time. The most dangerous part of the hurricane is precisely the eye, because there is no escape and no way to avoid the full force of the hurricane. In this case, you are in the middle of a cycle where there is no way out unless you cross from side to side, which is absurd to do. It is also the most deceptive and treacherous part, because when everything seems to be over and stable, from one moment to the next, all the fury of a hurricane or the problem is in its symbolism is unleashed. Sentence. The U.S. Supreme Court has just denied Texas election complaint to the grounds of lack of standing. The High Court rejected Texas' request to sue for battleground states for the election, citing lack of standing under the Constitution. Historically, the Supreme Court likes to try to find an easy way to out and may be tempted to try to resolve this case very quickly. The court announced Friday night that Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's motion was denied permission to file a lawsuit for lack of standing under Article 3 of the Constitution. In his view, Texas has not demonstrated a judicially recognizable interest in the way another state conducts its election. All other pending motions are dismissed as moot. Judges Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas disagreed with the decision, saying they would have granted the motion to file the complaint, but would not grant other relief, and would not comment further. The judges do not have the power to deny the filing of a complaint in a case that falls within our original jurisdiction, they said in dots. Reactions. After the rejection of the Texas motion, the president has reacted as assuring that the court did not have courage to give way to the requested demand and felt disappointed, tweeted the president, who hours before showed his hope for a positive decision. On the other hand, lawyer Rudy Giuliani has said that this is not over. There is nothing that prevents us from presenting these cases immediately in the district court, he said. The president of the Texas Republican Party proposed a new union of law-abiding states and criticized the court for setting a precedent. Perhaps the law-abiding states would ally themselves and form a union of states that respects the Constitution, in that suggested Republican leader Allen West. The state of Texas previously sued Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, accusing them of making unconstitutional changes to election laws this year. 17 states and 106 congressmen joined the lawsuit. Battle lines. Battle lines are being drawn as 44 states choose sides in the Texas-led electoral contest. The Supreme Court is the original jurisdiction for resolving disputes between states. Texas sought an emergency injunction against voters in Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin based on the election results, claiming that the state and local officials usurped the constitutional powers of their legislatures to alter the rules, removed protections against fraud, and made it impossible to determine whether the mass mail-in vote was fair and accurate. Excuse me. Aiding other states supported Texas in an amicus brief, and 6 of them had sought permission to intervene in the cause as co-plaintiffs, as had the president in his personal capacity. 19 Democratic-led states, as well as the District of Columbia and 2 territories, filed their own amicus brief in support of the 4 defendants. Republican members of Congress, as well as legislators from the accused states, also sought to join the suit. The legal term amicus curiae is a Latin phrase that literally means friend of the court. The term is used to refer to a legal brief called an amicus brief that can be filed with an appellate court, including a Supreme Court, by a party not involved in a current case, but in support of one side or the other in the legal suit or issue at hand. Amicus briefs are commonly filed on appeals relating to matters of broad public interest, such as civil rights cases that involve institutions such as education or law enforcement powers. The president said this Thursday that the nation's highest court can save the United States depending on what happens in the coming weeks. On Wednesday, 9th December, lawyer Lynn Wood tweeted the phrase, "A storm is coming," followed by photographs of the 82nd Airborne Division preparing for Operation Devil Storm. United States. 2 strategic bombers fly over the Middle East. 2 US B-52H Stratofortress strategic bombers took off from their base in Louisiana on Thursday and flew over the Middle East, reports NBC News. The aircraft made this display as part of the continuing efforts to dissuade Iran from any aggressive action, a state from Central Command said. On the other hand, the troops deployed in the Middle East are on high alert and are preparing to respond to a possible attack from Iran. For the time being, the Pentagon is closely observing the worrying signs of potential preparations for attack by Iranian militias in Iraq. Joint Russian-NATO maneuvers. The Russian Navy confirmed its participation in the multinational exercise Aman 2021 off the coast to Pakistan, the first in 10 years in which its ships will coincide with those of Nato. Russia's participation in the joint exercises is a further confirmation of international military cooperation. Pentagon cuts off support for Snow White's operations. Twitter users say the government is moving to dismantle the agency and finish what JFK started. The Pentagon announced Thursday that it could cut support for most operations worldwide. Promises. The Democratic leader promised Tuesday that 100 million doses of the injectable will be administered in his first 100 days in the White House. Federal investigation. The grandfather's son announced Wednesday that he's being investigated by the top federal prosecutor in Delaware over his taxes, local media reported. Yesterday, I learned for the first time that Delaware Attorney's Office informed my legal advisor that they are investigating my tax affairs, in that he said in a statement. After denying that they have ever seen Seth Rich's laptop, the Bureau of Investigation now admits that they have the laptop and are in the middle of extracting files and information, according to a tweet from Matt Couch. International. United Nations denounces that water trading on the futures market violates basic human rights. The trading of water on the Wall Street futures market, as if it were gold or oil, violates basic human rights and makes the liquid element vulnerable to a possible speculative bubble. The UN Special Reporter on the Right to Drinking Water and Sanitation, Pedro Arrojo Agudo, denounced in a statement. Peace agreement between Israel and Morocco. Israel and Morocco agreed to normalize their relations in an agreement negotiated by the president. The agreement is the latest in a series of agreements between Israel and the Muslim world. The most debatable part is the recognition of Moroccan sovereignty over the Sahara. Israel will show the palace of Herod, almost perfectly preserved for the last 2,000 years, after it was buried by the king of Judea. The Israeli authorities will open King Herod's palace fortress in Herodium this Sunday, giving tourists the opportunity to look back and discover the luxurious lifestyle of the leading Roman-era tyrant. Canada invited Chinese military. Justin Trudeau invited the Chinese People's Liberation Army to send their troops for cold weather training at CFB Petawawa in Ontario, and Trudeau was furious with the Canadian Army Forces for cancelling the training after China kidnapped two Canadian citizens, Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig. This is just one of many revelations published in the China Files, a 34-page access to information document published by the Trudeau government to Rebel News. Europe. European Union leaders unblock €1 billion budget after agreement with Poland and Hungary. European Union leaders on Thursday unlocked a €1 billion financial package to help economies recover from health crisis-induced recession after reaching a compromise with Poland and Hungary. Summit President Charles Michel said, Europeans are in favor of a universal basic income, according to a survey. The majority of European Union citizens supported universal basic income to cope with the impacts of the health crisis, according to a survey by Movemos Europa and YouGov. In Spain, 68% of citizens support such an income, and figure that rises to 72% when asked to weigh up the socio-economic impact of the crisis. Spain to receive 43 million euros for wage of migration to the Canary Islands. The European Commission announced on Thursday that it will grant an additional 43.2 million euros to Spain to tackle the high number of arrivals of irregular migrants this year. The aid will be used to increase the capacity of temporary accommodation for some 7,000 more people and to improve reception conditions, including access of health care, food and sanitation needs, a statement said. Green light to the Euthanasia law in Spain. The Justice Commission of the Congress has approved this Thursday, with broad support, the only vote against by the PP and Vox, the opinion of the Euthanasia bill, which will regulate medical aid for dying as a new benefit of the national health system, like Holland, Netherlands. The Spanish Ministry of Health has begun work on a plan for a forced injection. It contemplates strong sanctions for refusing to do so, as El Confidencial Digital assures. They propose to pay 1,230 euros to each person who is inoculated. Former Democratic Congressman John Delaney has a proposal to offer a stimulus of $1,500 for each person who agrees to inject himself. The politician predicts that 75% of the population will agree to do so with this incentive. A monolith is found in a city in Paraguay. The zinc-lined structure, about 2 meters high, attracts attention in the city of Paraguay in the eastern region of the South American country. Paraguayan citizens saw a strange metal monolith on a hillside between the Hu and San Rafael mountains on Friday. The mystery surrounding the metal monolith grew when residents discovered that the plaque, supposedly bearing a text written in Morse code, was hanging above it to add to the mystery. After the curious discovery, the police removed the monolith. Thanks a lot, and take care. Thank you, friends. Bye-bye.